Hey y'all, Whackworm here with a new series on Dwarf Fortress tutorials. I'm using the Lazy Newb Pack and I'm going to link that in the description below. You can use this with Linux, Mac, or Windows, so it's very helpful. And when you open it up, you're going to start on this Options tab here. It has several options for modifying the Dwarf Fortress experience to better suit your needs and your abilities. For very new beginners, I would suggest setting aquifers to no. This is commonly suggested in tutorials and forum posts and so on. But what it does is it disables the underground sort of hidden water reservoirs and sources that once you mine them out could flood your fortress and cause all kinds of disaster. It's better to embark in an area that has visible above ground water and to rely on those water sources as opposed to, the chance of destroying your fortress when you're digging out a farm or something like that. So I'd highly suggest setting that to no. And then the second one that's pretty important is this Graze Coefficient here. You could leave it to default to start with, and it's going to match up with the values you see in the wiki as far as pasture sizes for the different animals. But if you find you're having difficulty getting those animals fed or having enough pasture space for them, you can up this Graze Coefficient. This number defines how much food an animal will recover or get whenever they actually do a grazing action. So the higher this number is, the better. And the higher it is, the smaller pasture that you need for those animals. And it'll be easier to keep those alive. So definitely suggest playing through on default first, but if you're having trouble with it, you can definitely upgrade that number there. On the next tab is the Graphics tab. This is going to define the tile set that you're using for your playthrough. I would suggest going through either Googling or actually running Dwarf Fortress with the different tile sets loaded and just kind of finding one that matches up with what you like best. It's kind of important in this game to be able to recognize what's happening on a tile, what kind of animal is over there, what is that dwarf doing, or what kind of affliction is he suffering with or whatever. So it is very important that you have a tile set here that you're comfortable with. And then finally on the Utilities tab, this is very important. Dwarf Therapist here. All of these utilities are things that can run alongside Dwarf Fortress. They're not actually part of the game, but in some way they interact with the game and either give you information or allow you to supply information to the game in an easier method. Dwarf Fortress or Dwarf Therapist here is sort of the biggest one out of this whole list. This is what's going to allow you to interact with your dwarves and define what things they're allowed and not allowed to do as far as like jobs and things like that. And it's going to be a very easy way to interact with them and to set and read those parameters. Now on this tab, you can always double click any of these things and it will start running immediately, whether Dwarf Fortress is running or not. However, if you right click them, it's going to highlight it in green, and that means every time you go to start up Dwarf Fortress from the Lazy Newb Pack, that utility is going to start up alongside it. So I usually keep Dwarf Therapist here highlighted in green, but that's the only one. And that's going to make your life a lot easier. There's some other options here. Advanced, there's some good stuff in here as far as turning sound on and off if that's something that you don't want to listen to or you do want to listen to. You can also set when Dwarf Fortress saves. So I've set mine so it saves yearly. As you're starting, seasonal will probably be the best one. So it'll actually save every time it goes from spring to summer, summer to fall, and so on. And that'll keep you from losing a lot of work if you make a big mistake or something happens. Because in Dwarf Fortress, it's not a simple, file save game or whatever. Whenever you save the game, it actually thinks you're quitting, and it bumps you back out to the main screen. So it can kind of be a pain to save, and having a seasonal autosave is definitely helpful. If you need any clarification or have any comments or feedback, please leave it in the comment section below. If you want to see more Dwarf Fortress tutorials, then please subscribe, and I will see y'all in the next episode.